Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Muhibbullah Wazir, and the topic is the elbow joint. Elbow joint is a synovial joint of hinge variety. It is a complex joint and involved over here or the lower end of the humerus and the upper end of the radius and ulna. Before going to description, few bony points I tell to you. Look at the lower end of red humerus. This is medial epicondyle, and this you can see. This is lateral epicondyle. This rounded, which is present on the anterior surface but not present at the posterior, that is capitulum, and medial to that then there is a groove, and then there is a low elevation, and then there is a big flange which is called as the trachea, and this medial margin of the trachea extend more anterior medially. Then you can see over here on the anterior surface one big fossa. This is the coronoid fossa, and later to that a smaller fossa which is the radial fossa. While on the posterior side, a very big fossa which you see over here, this is the olecranon fossa. Okay, then look at the upper end of ulna. You can see this is olecranon process and this is coronoid process. Combinedly, the two encloses a notch which is called as trochlear notch, and in the mid region over here there is a ridge, okay, which indicates the junction point of the olecranon and the coronoid process. At the middle part of the coronoid process, you see over here one tubercle which is also called a sublime tubercle. Then at the lateral surface of the upper end of ulna, you see this notch which is called as radial notch of ulna. Okay, and at the upper end of the radius, you can see this rounded head of the radius with an articular facet over here, and then this is the neck of the radius, and then this is the radial tuberosity. Okay, now keeping in view this point, note the head of the radius, it articulates with the capitulum, and in full flexion this radial fossa is being then occupied by the head of the radius in flexion, and the ulna, it articulates with the trachea of the humerus with the trochlear notch, and in full flexion this coronoid fossa is being occupied by this coronoid process of ulna, while in full extension this olecranon fossa is being occupied by the olecranon process of the ulna. Okay, now what are the articulating surfaces in the elbow joint? Look, it is a synovial joint hinge variety, but it is a complex joint. Why it is complex? Note, one joint is being formed between the head of the radius and capitulum. One joint is being formed between the trachea and the trochlear notch of ulna, and one joint is also formed over here between the head of the radius and this radial notch of ulna over here, and this is called a superior radio-ulnar joint. This is said to be the port of this elbow joint for the reason that the synovial membrane of the elbow joint is being continuous with this superior radio ulnar joint as well. Okay, now note the capitulum is rounded, and then this is the small ridge, and then this is the trochlea, and the trochlear medial flange is too much extended anteromedially. One point note, this is extending more anteromedially, so this medial flange of the trochlea. And secondly, note the ulna. Look, this is the long axis of the humerus, while you can see the ulna is at obliquity with the long axis of the humerus. It is not in line with the humerus. That's why the obliquity of the ulna with the humerus and this medial flange of the trochlea, and to some extent this small groove over here, these 3 points, it accounts for the carrying angle of the elbow joint. And what is the carrying angle? Just look in anatomical position. Look, this is the long axis of the humerus, while the long axis of the forearm, it is at angle with that of the arm. The arm and forearm, it is at an angle of 163 or 170 degree with one another, and this is being called as carrying angle. And look, when you are standing like that, because of this carrying angle, this your elbow is being supported over here at your flank. And when you are taking a weight, for example taking a bucket full of water, in this way, because of this carrying angle, your elbow is being supported over here at your flank. Okay, now these are the articulating surfaces. Then you know the capsule is always attached to the margins of the articulating surfaces. You look, the capsule is being attached. This is the joint, and the capsule is attached over here to these margins of the articulating surfaces like this, and then coming over here like this, while posteriorly the capsule is being attached like this. You can see this capsule over here. This look, it is attached over here to the margins of the articulating surfaces. This is everywhere. That capsule is being attached over here like this, and over here like this, in the same way over here to the margins of the articulating surfaces, so that it is being enclosed like this in the capsule. Then inside the capsule there is a synovial membrane which lines the inner surface of the capsule, and then the concerned articulating surfaces. But note one point, that over here the capsule of the synovial membrane of this joint is continuous with the synovial membrane of this superior radio-ulnar joint. That's why some people consider the superior radio-ulnar joint as to the part of this cubital articulation, or as to be the part of the elbow joint. Okay, then what are the ligaments of the elbow joint? One strong ligament lies on the medial side, and one strong ligament lies on the lateral side. The medial ligament is called as medial ligament or ulnar collateral ligament. The lateral ligament is called a lateral ligament of the elbow or radial collateral ligament. But before that, you note another point, that look, the head of the radius, it articulates over here. What happens? One ligament which starts from this upper margin of this fossa, and then this ligament, it turns around the head, do not attach with it, and passing again back to be attached to this lower margin of this radial notch of ulna. and this ligament is being called as annular ligament. Annular ligament is attached to the upper margin of the fossa, to the lower margin of the fossa, while the head of the radius is being just enclosed. It is not attached to it, so that during pronation and supination, the head of the radius can rotate easily in this ligament. So this is the annular ligament. Okay. You see, huh? Yes. Look, this is the annular ligament, which originates from the upper margin of the radial notch and then turns around the head of the radius and passes posterior to it. Do not fuse or do not attach to it. Again attached to this lower notch, and this way the radial notch. In this way, the head of the radius is being enclosed in the annular ligament but not attached, so that within this ligament the head of the radius can move. And you can see this synovial membrane coming downward and also becomes over here continuous with the synovial membrane of this superior radio-ulnar joint as well. Look, this, and this is this extension of the synovial membrane of the elbow joint over here is also called as sessiform braces of the synovial membrane. It is continuous with it. And then note at the same point in this diagram that the radial and ulnar fossae, this coronoid and radial fossae, they are having a pair of fat in it. You can see a pair of fats are being present over here, so that the bone can go freely, easily, and in and out during flexion and extension. Fatty pairs are being present over here. Okay. Then the other ligament is the medial collateral ligament or ulnar collateral ligament. And the medial collateral ligament or ulnar collateral ligament, look, it is having three bands. Alright, look, this anterior band and this posterior band and this intermediate band which connects the two. Anterior band of ulnar collateral ligament, posterior band of ulnar collateral ligament, and this intermediate band. Now what happens? Look, the anterior band of the ulnar collateral ligament, it extends from the medial epicondyle to the sublime tubercle. From the medial epicondyle to the sublime tubercle, this anterior band. And this posterior band, again from the medial epicondyle, from this medial epicondyle to the olecranar process. This is posterior band, and the intermediate band which connects from this medial epicondyle to the cranial process and connects the two. These are more clear over here. You note over here. Note. This is anterior band from the medial epicondyle to the sublime tubercle. This is posterior band from the medial epicondyle to the olecranar process. Well, this is the intermediate band, this one that connects the two with one another. There is a slight difference between the anterior, posterior, medial bands described in the grace, and slight difference and in the Orgelos. So anyhow, there are three bands: anterior band, and this one is the posterior band, and middle band in grace. While in other books, this is anterior band, this is posterior band, and this is intermediate band. But the point to be noted over here, that over here lies The ulnar nerve, the ulnar nerve lies over here behind the medial epicondyle. So it passes on the medial surface of this ulnar collateral ligament and passes between the two heads of flexor carpi nervus to come into the anterior surface. So the ulnar nerve lies over here. You also see it over here. Look, this is the anterior band, and then this is the posterior band, and this is the intermediate band, and this is the ulnar nerve. Okay. Well, the radial collateral ligament, okay, you already know over here. Which ligament is present over here? Annular ligament. The radial collateral ligament is a triangular ligament that extends from this lateral epicondyle to be attached to the outer surface of this annular ligament. You look it over here, you can see. Look, this ligament from the lateral epicondyle, this you can see this is the annular ligament. This triangular ligament, the broad end is being attached over here to the annular ligament, while its narrow end is attached over here to the medial epicondyle of the humerus. Okay, now adjoint this again. Adjoint more brace this. Okay, then there is also anterior and posterior thickening in the capsule. So the ligaments are capsule, anterior thickening and posterior thickening, and then medial collateral ligament, and then lateral collateral ligament, a radial collateral ligament. These are the ligaments of the elbow joint. Now, what is the nerve supply? According to Alter's law, other nerves supplying the muscles acting over the joint must supply the joint. So in this way, the elbow joint is being supplied by musculocutaneous nerve, by median nerve, and by ulnar nerve, and also by radial nerve. Because radial nerve supplies the triceps acting over the joint, musculocutaneous nerve supplies the biceps brachialis acting over the joint, and median nerve supplies the other muscle, the long flexor muscles of the forearm, which some of them which also acts at the elbow joint. All right. Now, what are the action being permissible at the elbow joint? Note, as I told you, it is a hinge joint. Hinge joint is the joint of the door, and which you can close and open the door. You can't move the door up and down. In this way, the two movements which is being permissible at the elbow joint, that is flexion and extension. But you look, in fully extended position, there is an angle between the upper arm and forearm, and this is being called as carrying angle. Carrying angle, as I told you, this carrying angle is because of this medial flange of the trochlea, and another reason is because of the oblique position of the ulna. These 2 points count for the carrying angle. But when you do it in pronation, look, the angle between the two, the carrying angle is being finished. For example, in writing, you can say like that. So the movements being permissible, it is the flexion and extension, and the flexion is being performed, over here. The flexion is being performed. The flexion is being performed, number one, the flexion is being performed by the biceps and by the brachialis, helped by this brachioradialis as well, because brachioradialis also originate above the elbow joint. Biceps and brachialis and brachioradialis, and the extension is being performed by this triceps and conus, and also in fast extension the brachioradialis also come into play along with this extension. In this way, the flexion is being performed by these muscles, biceps and brachialis. Extension is being performed by the triceps and conus. Brachialis comes into play when there is fast flexion and when fast extension. That's why brachioradialis come into play in both these actions. Okay. Slight degree of abduction and adduction is being performed, but that is only at projection and supination. While the superior radioulnar joint, and note the point that the pronation and supination, it never occurs at the elbow joint, but the pronation and supination, it occurs only at this superior radioulnar joint and in this inferior radioulnar joint. In superior radioulnar joint, the head of the radius articulate with the radial fossa of the ulna, while in inferior radioulnar joint, the lower end of the ulna articulates with the ulnar notch of radius, and in this way the pronation and supination is being done at the superior and inferior radioulnar joint, not at the elbow joint at all. And then another point, look, this is the thymical position, this is ulna and this is radius. Now look, this is pronation, and you can see the lower end of radius and upper end of the radius have come across the ulna, and then it is supination. So it is said that in pronation and supination, look, at the movement is like this. This is pronation, the radius come across the ulna, and this is supination. So it is the radius which dawns around the ulna in pronation and supination, but these movements occurs at the superior, inferior, radio and intermediate radioulnar joints, not elbow joint. Elbow joint is purely hinged, only flexion and extension is being permissible at it. Okay, thank you. This is all about the elbow joint.